for sure. But if the Chiefs said they want it by the end of the year, this would seem to be decision day. And is it Missouri? Is it Kansas? I think people on both sides of the state line feel very confident that they're going to get it. As I read it, I think the Chiefs are headed to Kansas. And I look at it and the only, as I don't understand how you would not want a dome stadium over an open air stadium. I don't understand how you would want no development around your current location versus the chance to develop two different locations. I just don't understand. Unless somebody from North Kansas City is going to ride in and say, build the practice facility over here, which I am hearing none of that. I do not understand how the Hunt family could look at the proposals and say that the Missouri proposal is better, unless they just don't want to spend the money. They will have to put more of their money into the project in Kansas. It will be a significantly bigger, 3 or 4 times bigger project in Kansas than it will Missouri. But I think we're coming to a decision. I think we are days away. I think it will be next week. I think it will be. But anything can happen. It's politics, and it's a multi-billion-dollar deal. I can't even imagine all the details that go into it. But I think we're pointing towards getting an answer by the end of the year on the Chiefs. And unless there's some Hail Mary, I continue to hear that we are not close on getting an answer for the Royals. Which, let me point out, at some point, the star bonds run out. The expectation on the Kansas side is that by the end of the year, they're going to be ready to go with whatever they're going to do. Technically, they extended the star bonds for a calendar year, but the realistic expectation was that plans would be done and ready to go by the end of the year. How long will Kansas remain a viable option for either one of these teams? At some point, Kansas will be done. Now, Sean Tarwater sat here in this studio when they first put the star bonds out there, when it was coming up. We had him in this studio, and he said, our goal is to keep the Chiefs in the Kansas City metro area. We are giving a viable option to them in Kansas with these star bonds. That's what we want. We do not want the San Antonio Chiefs or the Nashville Royals. We want the Kansas City Royals wherever that will be. And if what our offer does is spur Missouri on to putting together an even better offer and the Royals and Chiefs stay on the Missouri side, then we are thrilled. We have considered it mission accomplished. Right? And I believe that's the overall mindset that's out there. But at some point, you got to figure out where it's going to go. And I think we're drawing to that point, at least with one of the teams, very soon. 913-810-810. Let's take a break. 913-810-810. Your phone calls are next here in the program.
The program with Soren Petro.
I need a reporter who's never played basketball and is 5'2".
Weekdays from 2 to 6 on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
5'8" and change, Coach. 5'8" and change. Listen up. If it's holiday gift buying, I'm not any good at it. You know, I don't know. I don't really know what I'm doing, but I know this. I know every time I've gone to Joslin's and I bought my gift at Joslin's, I am a hero. I am absolutely loved. I can do no wrong. You can be that holiday hero. Just get to Joslin's. Gary Joslin and his staff are the most experienced, best jewelers in town. They were voted #1 jeweler by Ingram's Magazine last year. For almost 50 years, Joslin's has been your go-to for exquisite jewelry and exceptional service, right? So what are you waiting for? Get to the corner of 95th and Antioch. Southeast corner of 95th and Antioch. They're just about a mile north from 435. So no matter where in the metro you're coming from, they're easy to get to. And when you walk in, you're treated like family. You're getting the most knowledgeable staff around. They can help you out with whatever you need. Birthstones, right? That's a popular gift if you're looking for something, whether it's a necklace, a ring, a bracelet. I don't know what birthstone my wife is. They do. And they've got hundreds of choices for all of them, right? How about tennis bracelets? How about stackable necklaces? How about diamond stud earrings? How about pearls? How about an engagement ring? Yes, if it's time to pop the question, it's time to get to Jocelyn's Jewelry. They've got almost 1,000 to choose from. Unique styles as well. And like I said, the most knowledgeable staff. Plus a jewelry store that you can use for appraisals. I know that. You get your homeowner's insurance. Hey, I need to appraise my wife's necklace. Need to appraise her wedding ring. Jocelyn's Jewelry can do that. See if those big box stores can do it. I'll bet you they can't. Jocelyn's Jewelry is right there on the southeast corner of 95th and Antioch, just waiting to make your holidays a success. So get over there today. You can find them online at joslinsjewelry.com. Jocelyn's Jewelry, the gold standard in fine jewelry.
When Kansas City scores, you score big at Johnny's Tavern. All season long, the Monday after a Chiefs game, the number of points Kansas City scores equals that percentage off their whole specialty pizzas at Johnny's Tavern. The special is good dine-in only and good at all KC, Lawrence, and Topeka locations. Good till the close of business Monday. Come in every Monday and score big savings based on the number of points Kansas City scores. When you order a whole specialty pizza at Johnny's Tavern, follow Johnny's Tavern on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, or go to johnnystavern.com for all their specials.
At Syndio Outsourcing, service isn't just what we do, it's who we are. Syndio Outsourcing provides outsourced HR solutions to help businesses handle payroll, employee benefits, compliance, and more, all in one place. From day one, our team is by your side. You're not just a client, you're a partner, and we treat your business like it's our own. Visit SyndioHRO.com. That's SYNDEOHRO.com, and discover the difference of having a premier HR partner.
Hey, Missouri, if you've not heard by now, 1, what are you doing? But 2,
All right, thanks for joining us here on the program. Soren, Petro, Kyle Collier, the big guy. Curtis Siebold off this week. A little rest and relaxation. I heard, where did he say he was going? New Zealand? Oh, nowhere. Nowhere. I thought he said New Zealand. I guess nowhere.
Yeah.
Okay. Bit of an upset there, huh? Did not see that one coming. Curtis is a kind of a homebody. So happy when he went to Colorado. On that, he had Colorado and North Carolina this year for weddings. He is spent.
Yeah, that's too much time at the airport for him.
Yeah, he is spent. 913-3810810. Let's go to the phone. Shannon waiting patiently. You're in the program, Shannon. What's going on?
Hey, Soren. Hey, I just want to say I appreciate your sometimes brutal honesty when it comes to all things Chiefs and sports in general when it comes to Kansas City.
Thank you.
But I do want to agree to disagree on your point you made about incompetence was removed from the rest of division rivals. I think that's partially true. I think the bigger issue is, and I don't know, obviously I'm a guy on the couch. I don't know what goes on in the locker room and in the film rooms and things like that, but there is something about Andy Reid that nobody wants to stand up to. And maybe it's because he's just the damn nicest guy on the planet and nobody wants to hurt his feelings or, go against what he says. But I think the problem is that the rest of the division did progress. They did get better. They've improved. And we've been treading water for 3 years now, and it finally caught up with us. But it's all because Andy doesn't change and nobody forces him to change. I think if there's one criticism of Mahomes, which really there aren't many, is, and I hate to say this, but he needs a little bit of Aaron Rodgers in him. He needs a little bit of, no, this is bull crap. What we're doing is not working. Something needs to change, and he needs to say it.
Well, hang on. Let's take this because you're coming. I mean, Aaron Rodgers won how many championships?
2.
One. He's
Yeah.
only played in one. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, I can tell you from people that have coached and played around Aaron Rodgers, there are great strengths to Aaron Rodgers. There are also some big negatives.
Agreed. I think the point that I'm saying is just have the ability and have it within him to stand up and say, and Pat would do it completely different than Aaron does. I think that's a given. And just say, there's things we need to change. And if it's not in front of a microphone, even better. I think all that stuff should be handled in-house. But I think what the biggest issue with Andy is his gosh darn loyalty. That dude is loyal to a fault. LaShawn McCoy stayed in the league how many years? Way past the time he should have, and that's because of Andy. I'm not a fire Andy guy. He deserves way better.
Can I just tell you that we get these things in our head, Shannon, and we start firing out things. Have you fact-checked how LaShawn McCoy was yards per carry for the Chiefs?
No.
Well, you should, because he was not. His problem was he wouldn't hold the ball and he was a jackass, right? So your loyalty. I don't argue your point that I think one of his biggest weaknesses is his biggest strength, and it is his loyalty. And I think that has done them well when it comes to staying with players and ultimately making them better players and being rewarded for that. But they've also stayed with Kadarius Toney, right? And he's on. So I don't argue with your overall point. I just be like, I think there's validity in what you're saying. Just be careful of adding on a bunch of stuff like this is somehow criminal or that it was blatantly obvious.
Fatal.
Nobody called this show before the year and said the offense is ass and this is clueless and this guy's like, now after the fact, everybody's decided, well, there's a problem with the offense. And I asked him, you'll hear this in the 5 o'clock hour. I asked Andy about the offense. And one of the things he said, well, when you're constantly searching, then it gets hard to, I said, the offense just seems like it's been out of sync all year. And he said, well, when you're constantly searching. So I do think the offense was broken this year. There's no doubt about it. The question is it broken because Andy Reid's out of ideas? Is it broken because he and his staff are incompetent? Or is it broken because Brett Veach can't give him talent? Or is it, hey, they swung and missed this year. They've had the shortest offseason of everybody every year, year after year, and now they're going to get 5 extra weeks to go to work on it, and maybe that'll be the difference.
Yeah, no doubt. They've got to be exhausted. I mean, I think that was one of my points, too, is like, this team needs this rest. There's no doubt about it. And it was encouraging today. I hope it was an actual quote. I saw it on X that Andy said, and he made some point about, whoever here is left, we need to retool. That's promising to me. I'm not saying they need a complete house cleaning endeavor. I don't think that. I think there are questions even as far back as like strength and conditioning, because this team has on both sides of the ball just been getting manhandled for 2+ seasons.
I'm with you, Shannon.
The last thing I'll say is there's a lot of chatter I saw about this Tony Jefferson and that hit, and I'm just going to be brutally honest. There was nothing wrong with that hit. What the Chiefs fans don't like, is the fact that that dude has swagger, and they were absolutely laying the wood to us all day yesterday. And that is something that's been missing from this team because it doesn't have that identity. Kind of goes to what you were talking about. The last thing I'll say is, and it's just it's a quote from Wooden, is failure isn't fatal, but failure to change might be. And I think that's the biggest thing that concerns me about this Chiefs organization is, will they have the hard conversations and make this probably really, really hard decisions? I appreciate it.
All right, I appreciate it. Well done, Shannon. I mean, very thoughtful, and I always appreciate an intelligent call, and that was definitely one. And look, on the toughness thing, I'm with you. I don't like saying it now that Patrick Mahomes has been lost for the year, but the word that was going around my basement through much of that game was soft. And this team seems soft. First of all, I don't know how many guys left the game to be back 2 plays later. And that always, listen, everybody is tough that walks out on an NFL football field. Those are the biggest, baddest men on the planet, flying around, knocking people around. You don't walk out on that field, even if you're just the kicker. You don't walk out on that field without some courage. Okay, so I'm not questioning that. But this team, and I'm not saying necessarily that they can't be more of a tough team, more of a hard team, but at this point they're soft. I think they're soft because they didn't see the playoffs anymore realistically. They knew what it was going to take and knew that they probably weren't going to get there. And so I think it's tougher to fight through, when you really take a hit and say, no, I'm going to stay in the game, I'm going to keep going. They were the softer team. The Chargers were tougher. The Chargers brought the hits. The Chargers also seemed to know exactly where the Chiefs' routes were going. That's why they were there to meet him before Rashee Rice could get his head around. And we've talked about Rashee Rice. There hadn't really been any separation on those slants to begin with. But now not only was he not separating for the corners and Patrick Mahomes needing to thread the needle, which he was doing, but now the safeties are like, I don't have to worry about this other crap. I'm coming, and I'm taking your head off.
Yeah, Mitch Schwartz, notably, he noted on Twitter that the safety they were breaking for routes.
Yeah, they knew where they were going.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so, that's a sign that the offense, and I go back to what I said about Andy Reid saying, when you're searching for something, it's tough to get in a rhythm. And I think they're searching because they didn't have the magic potion coming into this year. Now, is that because Andy Reid didn't listen to Matt Nagy? Matt Nagy brought ideas that don't fit. Andy Reid's ideas are old, and Andy needs to have more I don't know. They got to figure all that out. But it didn't work this time. Right? And I think the one thing that's going to be clear, and I think they know this, there will have to be change of some sort. I would be stunned if 100% of the coaching staff, all but the draft picks and 2 free agents are back. Everybody in the front office is back. There will be change, I believe, coming because it didn't. This was there were a lot of things that they just missed on. Chad, you're in the program. What's going on, Chad?
Hey, guys. I'm a long-time listener, first-time caller, lifelong Chiefs fan. Stream up here in Minneapolis, where I've lived the last 12 years, and you guys at 810 are just the best. And love your takes.
Thank you.
Just wanted to call in after that loss, obviously, but really share what I think maybe a lot of us are feeling, 2 things at the same time, deep gratitude and deep frustration. So just want to speak to that if I can.
Okay, sure.
First, the gratitude. I barely dared to dream as a kid to imagine seeing the Chiefs in a Super Bowl in my lifetime, let alone winning one. And my boys, 14, 12, 10 years old, they've watched the Chiefs play in 5 of the last 6 Super Bowls. That's unreal. And as a fan, as a dad, I'm just incredibly thankful for what we've witnessed. This has been a golden era like we'd never dreamed. My dad's been fighting cancer the last 2.5 years, and having the opportunity to share so many of these memories with him is just a priceless gift. So I'm so thankful to the Chiefs for what we've enjoyed. And I'm really frustrated. I'm maybe borderline angry with what I think we're doing to Patrick Mahomes. He is GOAT-level talent. He's unbelievable. We've never seen anything like him in the league, but we're aging him and wearing him down. There's a reason running QBs don't age well in the NFL. So, while I'm frustrated with some bad calls by the officials, the worst thing we've done to ourselves, I think, as a franchise is not protecting this QB. That injury last night wasn't on the refs. Year after year, we've asked Mahomes to carry everything, and it's nice he can use his legs, sure, but we have got to stop expecting these dramatic scrambles, because those are the very types of plays that are going to fast-pace a legend into early retirement, I think. And so, yeah, I mean, we should learn some lessons. I thought we learned some lessons during that Bucs Super Bowl years ago, that was a wake-up call. Last year's Super Bowl was another embarrassing loss because of the offensive line, and I get that injuries happen, but it feels like we still truly haven't owned up to this offensive line problem. Also, love your thoughts on not having to compare Mahomes and the Tom Brady legacy. I'll just say this. Tom Brady didn't have to be a legendary scrambler every scoring drive. So, anyway, that's all. I'm profoundly grateful, but I'm worried that we're willingly wasting Mahomes' prime by asking him to do way too much. So my question is this: is that a fair take? And what do the Chiefs need to do right now to stop wasting what we have in Patrick Mahomes?
All right, and Chad, thank you for the call. And I think it's a fair question, right? It's fair to ask: Are the Chiefs wasting Patrick Mahomes? And the answer would be no, for everything you just said. 7 straight conference championships, 5 Super Bowl appearances, 3 Super Bowl championships. How is that wasting? Now, I know what you're going to say. You're going to pivot and say, well, no, I'm saying, but they're going to get him hurt, and his career is going to be shorter than it was. I will go back to a conversation I had with Greg Holland, who threw a wicked slider, a fastball. It was only 5 feet 10 inches tall. I don't know how he made the baseball do what he did. And I said to him, you ever think about, getting the cutter, going Mariano Rivera style? And he said, it's hard to get big league hitters out. I need every bullet I've got, and I'm going to fire every bullet while I've got them. It's hard to win NFL games. I mean, I think the premise of your quote-unquote take, like I said, fair question? No, not fair take. The premise of your take is that, no, we just sit, and if we look at the tape long enough, the answer to how to beat every team every week is right there in front of us. And all we got to do is see it, and then we go do it, and it's that easy. But they don't do what they do on tape. And guys get hurt, and people go down. To your point about the offensive line, they've got a $28 million cap hit on the right tackle. They've got the highest-paid right guard, highest-paid guard in football at right guard, the highest-paid center in football at center. They've got a first-round pick at left tackle and a second-round pick at guard. How much more do you want them to invest in the offensive line? Now, that's where we can get into, well, Andy Heck should have developed him better, or you should have taken Josh Simmons, you should have taken somebody else who wouldn't have left the team, or who has a stronger wrist that won't get separated when Kareem Hunt slams into it, or I don't know, whatever reason we want to come up with for why the guys aren't on the field. Should have anticipated Trey Smith being hurt. He's 25 years old. I don't know why he was 26 years old when they re-signed him. He's not 32. I mean, sometimes crap happens. Like, this is why the Patriots, I come back to 13 times. They didn't win it. I think was it 21 years? 15 times with Tom Brady? I think he was there 21 years or something like that. I don't know how many years did he play. I'll have to look it up. But they didn't win it every year. And so this anger or this we must find the villain and get rid of them because we did not win the championship is erroneous. Celebrate like hell when you do win it, because that is when you have beaten the odds. That is when something has truly been spectacular. This is not a spectacular failure. This is the NFL at work.
The program with Soren Petro.
Well, you are my guy. God bless you. Where are all the guys like you?
Weekdays from 2 to 6 on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
All right, listen up. Let me tell you about my friends at Underdog. Download the app right now, okay? And download the app. Use the promo code Soren. You can score $75 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code Soren, S-O-R-E-N. Look, we got Monday Night Football tonight. You're here right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. That means there's a chance to enjoy the game and have more than a rooting interest on it. That's right. You can make entries, win money right now in Missouri. Playing Underdog on Underdog is super easy. You choose whether your favorite player is going to go higher or lower on stats like rushing yards, receiving yards, touchdowns. They're all right there. Get your entries right. You can win up to 5,000 times your cash. Like, do you love you some Pittsburgh Steelers? Right? Do you think that, okay, this is it. Aaron Rodgers, love him. He's going higher. I'm going to go higher on the passing yards. It's that easy. That's what you got to do. How do you think this game is going to play? If you know how the game is going to play out, then just pick your favorite player, go higher or lower. Steeler defense, too much for Tua. Tua, lower on the passing yards. It's that easy. That's how simple it is, right? And it's fun. I don't know about you, but I like having more than a rooting interest on a game, and I get to do that with Underdog. All the games are there. NFL, NBA, college football, it's all right there. But you got to download the app. Do it right now. Use the promo code SOREN, SOREN, to score $75 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code SOREN, SOREN, at Underdog. Make plays, win money.
Must be 18 plus and present in Missouri. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org.
Hey, AK, it's me, TK.
What's up, TK? It's me, AK, Andy from Andy's Frozen Custard. Travis, if you could tell people how to support your charity, what would you say?
Grab my 87 and running concrete at Andy's.
87 and Running is such a wonderful charity that we created a special treat just for the cause. It has the world's finest vanilla frozen custard, Oreos, cookie dough, caramel, and the best part, a portion of the proceeds from every one sold helps 87 and Running.
It's a cool way to support our vulnerable youth in Kansas City and beyond.
Looking for the ultimate cannabis experience? Well, look no further than From the Earth, your premier destination for all things cannabis. Come visit From the Earth today at one of their 5 locations in the metro. From the Earth, their growers are really good at what they do, like really good.
Hi, I'm Lexi, your friend and jeweler at Shane Company. We'll help you find last-minute gifts that don't look last-minute, even if you're still planning to propose. At Shane Company, we'll show you perfect gifts at perfect prices, in stock and ready to give. Like hand-matched diamond studs, 14-karat gold chains, or the ultimate gift, a beautiful engagement ring. We have longer store hours, so you can skip the crowds and shop when you want, or visit us at shaneco.com. Because a friend wants you to be a holiday hero. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
100 years ago, Modelo began brewing Modelo Especial, brewed with a taste that is pure gold, perfect for hanging out at the pool or just relaxing at home. A rich, full-flavored Pilsner-style lager that delivers a crisp, refreshing taste. And Modelo Oro, the gold standard of light beers. For light beer drinkers who appreciate flavor but don't want to compromise on quality. A smooth All right, let's get as many people in here as we can. 913-381-0810. Mike, you're next up. What's going on, Mike?
Hey, Soren, it pains me to say this, but I absolutely agree with you. I would trade Trent McDuffie, and I would gut the offensive position staff. Another move I would consider making, and I think we as Chiefs fans tend to overvalue our own players, but I would trade Rashee Rice. And I think, in my mind, he's a good player. He's not a great player. And he may have value with the year left on his contract.
I think, yes, if you're in a full-on, completely strip it to the ground, I think you could get a lot of value for him to a degree, right? Like the off-the-field stuff is not going to enamor people.
No.
But, I do think you want weapons for your quarterback. And so that gets tricky. Who else are you going to go get? Like if Xavier Worthy had been what I think they hoped he'd be, I'd be more inclined, and I think they were hoping he'd be more so that they could probably walk on Rashee Rice after the car crash. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they're looking at it going, well, we're going to be able to get him dirt cheap because he's not going to be able to hold us up, or we can get him on a deal that we can walk on at any time. It's going to guarantee only 1 year at a time, and I don't know. Maybe they see it as opportunity, but I do think a lot of questions need to be asked about the offense for sure.
Yeah. Well, I think there's a trend, and we haven't done it, but longer and faster wide receivers, taller. And that goes to also why you can let Trent McDuffie walk. When he stands up against George Pickens and it's a jump ball, he's not winning. And I think we need to go back to and I grew up watching Albert Lewis, right?
Yeah.
And that type of cornerback, fast, long, and can battle for the ball every single time. And we have that a little bit with Watson and Williams, but not with McDuffie.
Yeah, everyone, that's who they always try to take. And, Mike, thank you for the call. And he's not quite as long as you would like, but all the other skills are there. So that's why they moved up to get him. It's been an effective trade. The reason I would trade Trent McDuffie is, one, I think you need more draft picks, and two, a cornerback's best years are the first contract. So why would you pay for his second best years at the highest possible rate? It makes no sense to me. They are clearly becoming the running backs of defense.
A year into Sauce Gardner's deal, injured.
Yeah, injured, and the Jets went, oh, we can live without this. And so the cornerback, you're old at like 28. So why are you going to invest in a cornerback? I don't get it. Bill, you're in the program. What's going on, Bill?
The great Soren. I've never got to talk to you before, and the last time I called a sports program was when Don Fortune retired.
Yeah, okay.
Anyway, I just want to age myself, and
you just did, by the way.
Tell people out there to just kind of relax, because teams get old, and teams lose their connectivity, I think. And anyway, it wasn't fun watching Otis Taylor not be able to catch the ball 4 feet over his head, and wasn't fun to watch Mike Garrett struggle to make 3 yards, and all those things. But we did, and when Marty came, we finally started getting good football again, and now these guys had 10 years of the best, and you don't get that very often. And anyway, they should be really thankful. So
yeah.
One other comment.
Sure.
The guy said that Jefferson made a clean hit. That's bull. That guy hit him in the helmet, and I think the Chiefs ought to be able to start recognizing that Tyquan Thornton can actually catch the ball with his hands and not his shoulder pads, and use him for more than kickoffs. I think that's been the biggest waste of a player this year. Kelsey used to catch the ball with his hands. He has trouble now, and he's getting older. So anyway, one thing I'd like to ask you,
real quick.
They were talking about the crackback block that was put on Jefferson right before, or right after that happened, or maybe it was right after.
Bill, I'm gonna cut you here. I think I know where you're going on the crackback. I don't know how it can be a crackback block when you hit a guy in the chest. I know he didn't get his head around, but he hit him in the chest. I just, for the life of me, don't understand how that can be a crackback block.
All right, through 15 weeks, one defense has 0 interceptions on the year. Who is it?
player, coach, pain in the ass. He's done it all on the gridiron from South Bend to Arrowhead. From football on the radio, back to football, then more radio, then a little more football, and now radio again. It's Chiefs Hall of Famer Tim Grunhard on the program.
Brought to you by The Plumbing Pro. When you really need a plumber, the one to know is The Plumbing Pro. Visit them online at theplumbingpro.com.
Hour number 2 of the program begins right now. Tim Grunhard, results over excuses, it says on his shirt.
That's right. That's the theme of our show today. Results over excuses.
So, we don't have the results. Does that mean we get to make the excuses?
No, because you're not getting the results. Don't make the excuses. Go find a way to find the results. And we're going to try and find some results for you guys. Make you feel, I don't know if we can make you feel better today, but maybe just
were you one of those guys in
make
high
you
school?
feel a little bit. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I interrupted you.
I wasn't going anywhere. Go ahead.
When you were in high school football, did you have T-shirts with all the fun slogans?
No.
I always remember the one, I think our wrestling team in high school had one. Pain is temporary. Pride is forever.
Let me tell you something.
I mean, if I put that shirt on, how could I possibly fail?
Pain is not temporary.
No, really. It says a guy getting ready to get the knife again tomorrow.
Tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. I'll see you, Dr. Lingerfelder. See you there, buddy.
So you still feel the pain?
6 months later. The pain is not temporary.
How's your pride, though, Tim?
My pride, personal responsibility, and daily excellence. My pride is excellent. For everybody out there, Lou Holtz, pride, personal responsibility, and daily excellence. When you get up in the morning, men, you brush your teeth with pride. You go to school with pride. You dress like you want to be there. You dress like you're a professional. Be prideful in everything you do in life, and you'll be okay.
I do believe that
there you go. There's my Lou Holtz.
Eli Drinkwitz might be Lou Holtz without the delivery system. Lou's delivery system made it even better.
Well, Lou, you had Lou on a couple of times. You enjoyed Lou.
I thoroughly enjoyed Lou.
Lou's a good man.
He's a piece of work, man. He's a complete character.
He's a complete character, all right.
But I mean, you there's nothing you can bring up that he doesn't go right into. I've got the slogan for what answers that. He has a slogan or a theme. What do you call those? A catchphrase? He has one for everything.
He's got it. He's got something for everything, and I used to love. He would stand up in our team meetings and said, "You know what? I get paid $25,000, $30,000. This is back in the '80s. $25,000-$30,000 to go do a speech in front of people, businesses, and groups, and you guys fall asleep when I'm talking."
So what's that say about businesses, Coach?
There you go. That just says you're wasting money. Oh, boy.
God, you're stealing, Coach. What the hell?
You're stealing. Hey, prayers to Patrick Mahomes.
Yep.
That was tough to see, and you never want to compare yourself to anybody else, but boy, oh boy, these surgeries, they just suck. But he's a young man. He's going to bounce back. He's going to do great. He's going to attack the rehab just like he attacks everything else in his life. He's a competitive prick. Be a competitive prick when it comes to the rehab process, and you have to have that in order to be great again with these kind of surgeries. You're never quite the same, but you can get pretty close. But like you were talking about a little bit earlier, it's a sad deal. It felt like seeing Patrick Mahomes kind of rolling around on the field, the turf at Arrowhead Stadium in the fourth quarter, when we all kind of knew that the playoff life was dwindling away, and then you saw Patrick Mahomes, his season now dwindling away. It was just a weird feeling. I think Kansas City as a whole is a little bit in shock, a little bit numb, and we have to come up with some answers as a Chiefs organization, as a Chief fan, as people that love these Kansas City Chiefs, and what they're going to do and where they're going to go from here. And there's some options, some things they have to do, and I think that they can do it. But it's going to be an interesting year. Off season, it's going to be an interesting summer, and when the season starts, it'll be interesting to see where Patrick Mahomes is at.
Would you do you believe it's time for a reset? I'm not gonna. When you have the quarterback, it's not a rebuild.
Not a rebuild.
And there are a number of contracts they can't get away from. But would you reset as much as you could?
Yeah, I would. I would reset a little bit. And talked to about 4 or 5 different orthopedics today. I do have them on speed dial. So talked to about 4 or 5 different guys today, and listen, they're competitive pricks too, by the way.
Okay.
Orthopedics, and they all think that they, if he comes to me.
Oh, a doctor that thinks he knows it all.
I can have him back on the field in 6 months.
Don't know any of them.
But I heard anything from, 6 months to 9 months. I did hear, just through the grapevine, that he will not be having surgery here in Kansas City.
He went down to Dallas for a second opinion.
Yeah, he said, one of the guys I talked to said he's probably going to end up going to Dallas or L.A. I'm not sure who's in L.A., but I'm sure he's going to go to the best. And it really comes down to everybody is it.
He won't be at the free clinic.
He's not going to be at the free clinic. He's not going to be some kind of intern cutting on him. He's going to have the best of the best and good, because we want the best of the best. But you remember the old adage, the guy who graduated last in medical school is called?
Doctor. That's right.
So everybody says they have the best doctor. Guess what? They're not all the best. I promise you. I can't. I've had.
In fact, if you're listening to me right now, you're probably not going to the best.
Probably not going to the best. And I love it because I've had many surgeries. I think going on. I think this may be the 23rd.
Okay.
And everyone's like, yeah, this guy's the best. Who do you go to? I go to blah, blah, blah. Oh, no, my guy's the best. I go, okay, well, I was told that this guy's the best. Everybody's the best. Everybody's got the best. But you can count on Patrick Mahomes going to probably the consensus best out there. But, guys, what it really comes down to, ACL is a horrible surgery. It sucks. But it's not the end all. You can, and listen, I'm not a doctor. I'm not trying to play one on the radio. But the ACL surgery, realistically, if it's just the ACL, it might be 5.5, 6 months.
Yeah.
But, there's all kinds of different things that can happen, including meniscus tears in there. And people are like, meniscus tears? I had my meniscus fixed, and it was no big deal. I was back running around in, 6 weeks. And I've had, 10 of those meniscus surgeries. And the last one really kind of knocked me out. That's a whole different story. But it's the structure and just the different things that are in the knee that can cause, the rehab to slow down. And the ACL itself is just the ACL. You can attack that and get it going fairly quick.
It's like, what other things they have to do? Because when you get in there and you start cutting around on things, you're damaging stuff to fix the other stuff. And so all that has to be rehabbed and fixed. I'm no doctor either, but you can just a little common sense as to it's not what you want to have happen. I think what's
your thoughts?
I think first of all, he's played enough football and taken enough shots on those legs.
Right.
I said, look, you may think he's just as athletic as he was when he first got here, but he's not.
No.
Like, he is eroded.
Nope.
Now, is it 2%?
We all do.
12%? Is it 16%? I don't know. He hides it better than most because he has an incredible spatial awareness, and he's completely in tune with his what do you call it, the movements of the body. His ability to move, know where he's going, where someone else is going, where he can throw a ball, all that, he is off the charts. And so when he goes to escape, he only goes to escape when he can escape. Right? Like, he's not
a running quarterback. Right. I heard a guy come out and say running quarterbacks. He's really not a running quarterback. He runs out of necessity.
He's an escape artist.
Right.
He's not a runner. He's an escape artist.
Yeah.
But have you noticed he is getting caught more?
Well, yeah.
He did get caught in this game particularly. He got caught from behind with a ball that he fumbled and caught back. He didn't fumble it, but it got knocked loose in the air, and he got a hold of it and went down for the sack.
Yep.
Normally he knows when that's coming.
Right.
He had a couple of them. He had the one where he cut back and thought he was going to be able to make a throw, and nobody got open, and he took a sack because he's not quite as elusive as he was, and he's not going to be more elusive now. He's going to be less, and so they've got to start preparing for the Patrick Mahomes has no legs portion of his career, because the arm doesn't go, but the legs do, and he's going to have to do a lot more from the pocket, and they have to start preparing for that.
Yeah, and I love what you said. I mean, they have invested in the offensive line. Now the offensive line had a ton of injuries. So I agree wholeheartedly with what you said. He's slowed down a little bit. His reactions have slowed down a little bit. His speed has slowed down a little bit. Guess what? That's what happens with age.
Yes.
What is this, 9 years now?
Yeah, he was 21 when he got to the Chiefs. He's 30 now.
So
17 to 25.
Is this eight or 9 seasons?
That's 9 seasons.
So nine seasons, guys. You realize how much that is? That's a lot. And I get it. Everybody wants to, compare to Tom Brady and to, Philip Rivers now.
But by being a runner, you subject yourself to more things. You slide, just the sliding and the diving for things, and you take some shots, and he's put more wear and tear on his body than a Peyton Manning, a Tom Brady, who just gets rid of the ball.
So 9 seasons is a lot. Now, is he close to done? No, I think he's still. If he's not, he may have peaked, but he's certainly not on his way down. I think there's still a lot of juice left in that body, and I think there's a lot of wins left in that arm. But listen, offense is all about rhythm. Rhythm. And when you have basically a free agent playing left tackle, and you have a international project player playing right tackle, your rhythm is thrown off because you're not quite sure how fast or how slow the defense is going to get to you, especially at the defensive end position. And that's what I saw yesterday. He was not that he was nervous, but he just had no idea when you talk about the timing and you talk about understanding and being able to be aware. He had no clue of how fast or how slow those guys were going to get there. So all that rhythm and all that timing was thrown off just maybe a half a second. And guess what? In the NFL, a half a second is everything. It's everything. That's why we love watching the NFL. That's the NFL is set up. Your last statement, I forget which caller you were talking to, and you ended, because that's the NFL.
Yeah.
That is the NFL. A half a second is everything. That's why it's so entertaining. I mean, anything can happen at any time, and you've got to be on your A game in order to win a football game. And you're exactly right. The NFL is set up for you to lose because they want everybody in parity to win, because they want everybody to feel involved. Every city has a chance. And guess what? Parity is happening this year. The Bengals are out. The Chiefs are out. The Ravens might as well be out. The Bills, they were on life support, and they had to come back 21 points in the third quarter to come back, so they're probably in. But some of the stalwarts, some of the creme de la creme are out. So the NFL, this is the way it's set up, and it's set up this way for winning football games to be hard. There's a lot of smart guys on the other side, and I want you to get into what you said during the break, which I think is really, really good. I'm being really nice to you today. I don't know what the hell my problem is. Maybe because Curtis isn't here. Maybe I'm sitting in Curtis's spot. This is I got to get out of this spot. There's something going on.
They haven't already started doping you up for the surgery tomorrow?
I wish they would. I'm stopping at the pharmacy maybe today. Pop a couple of those already. But there's a lot of smart people on the other side. But what you said is exactly right. Defense. Say what you said about the defense and what they're looking for, because that's exactly what offensive coordinators used to say to us all the time. I've heard so many different speeches, so many different meetings, so many different anecdotes, so many different things, you forget them. But what you said, I promise you, I heard 100 times from different offensive coordinators.
Defense is a zero hole side of the ball. It's a zero weakness side of the ball. You're better off being good everywhere and great nowhere than being great in 4 or 5 spots, okay in a bunch of them, and then have a hole in 1 or 2, because they're going to find the hole, right? Like, I mean, no offense to the KU people. The guy I used as an example is if you watch the Bucks and Falcons, wherever Kobe Bryant was, they were throwing
Mike
the ball.
Evans was going that way.
That's the guy. We're going at that guy. And that's why I said, Trent McDuffie is great. You're a better football team with Trent McDuffie than without him. But they have proven that because they're deep at corner and they're good at corner, they've still played really good defense without Trent McDuffie, right? And so if you can that's the philosophy that the New England Patriots used.
Right.
Right? If you're going to be great somewhere, be great up on the defensive line. Like, that's the most important place to be great. And I think you do have to strive to be great up there because that's where you can beat somebody and disrupt everything they do. But the back seven, no weaknesses, you're in a good spot. And so if you can be deep at corner, which they are this year, and have a guy that can travel, that's why they've been so good defensively, because they're not getting any pressure, and they still play really good defense.
So one of the greatest linebackers I played against, Junior Seau. Played against him for 3 years at Notre Dame and 11 years in the NFL. Didn't have many weaknesses. The one weakness he had, we tried to exploit, was his initial read and his initial thought process, he just went full go from there. So what we tried to do is give him smoke and mirrors, where we tried to, we call it the scissors, where you'd fake a handoff one way and then, pitch it the other way. Because if you fake the handoff to the right and you tossed it to the left, he was flying to the right. One of the best players, Hall of Fame guys, and he had a weakness. You can go through Cortez Kennedy, you can go through Howie Long, you can go through all kinds of different defensive players we played against. Everybody had a little bit of a weakness, and you tried to exploit it. Now, the individual weakness is one thing, but the scheme weakness and the weakness of a unit is another thing. And that's where the big money guys, coordinators, figure out, where is that weakness in that scheme? Where is that weakness in this defense? Where is the weakness in what they're trying to do to us? And how can we take advantage of it? And you're exactly right. That's what makes or breaks games. And it changes sometimes in the middle games. And that's why the great coaches are able to make the game time adjustments, because you may think that, these linebackers stink, and then all of a sudden they're just blowing everything up. And you said, well, you know what? The linebackers aren't bad, so let's change it and let's go after this guy or this area and go from there. And that's where the great ones make those adjustments.
I think one of the big questions is what to do with Chris Jones. And I'm going to tell you that for my money, if you're in a reset, which is right now where I think they should be, I'm walking. And I'm using this year to reset my cap, and if that means we're going to be down, because it's $32 million this year and $32 million next year, if you cut him now. If you play him, the Hunts have to pay him $35 million worth of real money. He counts $44 million against your cap, and then you can cut him for $19.5 next year. So if what you want is a cheaper 27, then you play him.
All right. Yeah.
You keep him. But here's my frustration with Chris Jones. Like, I don't know if anybody watched the post game with Chris Jones, but he got irritated when he was asked about lining up offside.
Twice.
And so much so
in a row.
They called a timeout. And he said something to the effect of, I heard that on the sideline or whatever. It was the most, I do not, listen, this town lost its mind on D Ford for lining up. Not one person called to mention Chris Jones on that play. And Chris Jones said this. Well, what happened? I don't know if it was Jesse. I couldn't tell who asked the question. Well, what happened? What happened?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got 3 and out. They're out, right? You remember that, right? Yeah, but that's the symptom. The disease is your head is up your ass.
Yeah.
That's the problem, okay? Is that you watch Trevor Lawrence walk into the end zone. Like, that's the same thing. Like, if you can't even look down the line and go, I'm offsides, and get back on sides, that's why you also go, oh, I thought Trevor Lawrence was tackled. Like, for as instinctual as Travis Kelce is too, but really Patrick Mahomes is, Chris Jones is the opposite. He mails in plays. Oh, there's a guy over here double team. Oh, they're running the other way. Like, and you're gonna say to that locker room, this guy gets $44 million of our cap room, $35 million in pure cash. Like, that crap has to go away. And that is part of why they were soft. I mean, we hate seeing Patrick Mahomes get hurt at the end, but how many guys laid on the field, got up, and were back in 2 plays later?
Yeah, there was a ton of that.
No injury tent, no, just like, okay, now I'm ready.
Yeah, but, I mean, I hate to say it, but that's the kind of stuff that happens when you start to lose.
I agree. But you're soft at that point, right?
Yeah, you are. You just,
it's fair to call that soft.
Every little nick and every little bruise and every little bump and every little time you get your, I don't want to say bell rung because that's
what it used to be. That was what
it was. that you'd be running your way out and taking a little break because you realize that hey I'm not why would I put myself in a bad position here physically if
Chris Jones,
and I'm not saying that's what Chris does. I agree with you to an extent.
Chris Jones is a passionate bad relationship. Okay, ladies, you ever dated a hot guy? It was a lot of fun. You know what I mean? Ever dated a hot girl? She's a lot of fun.
And then he wouldn't throw away his recycling.
Well, they were just an insufferable pain in the ass about whatever you want to pick. And so one day was a good day, one day was okay, and 5 days sucked. But on that good day, you convince yourself, no, this is the reality. This is this relationship. And it takes you a while before you go, no, it's the 5 ass days that are what this relationship is. Chris Jones blows somebody up. He swims by somebody and gets to the quarterback, and defensive coaches go, that's who it is. That's our guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
But too many days, it's, oh, look, there goes Trevor Lawrence for a touchdown. Oh, look, 2 guys are in front of me.
Yep.
Oh, that's why. The run's over to the other side.
Yeah.
I like. That is, you're a no-show for that play, that's where defensively I just.
So with that in mind.
I don't know how you scheme with that.
So with that in mind, I don't want people driving around to run into anything or to blow your stacks or to think that this Grunny's trying to hey, we're rebuilding, because we're not. This is not a rebuild, but there's got to be a reset. Push the reset button on your Xbox. It's time to reset. And resetting means you got to cut bait on a couple different guys or a couple different coaches or a couple different players, because sometimes you just have to do that. Sometimes the message gets lost a little bit. Somebody asked me, I was on a national show last night on ESPN, and the guy calls me, hey, can you come on from 11 p.m. to 1 a.m.? I'm like, are you crazy?
That is awesome, because I had the slot. I was on at 8.
Yeah,
so I like knowing that you're the late night caller.
Yeah, so I'm like, no, I'll tape it, but I will not come on. I said, I'm in bed at 9 o'clock. If you think I'm setting my alarm for 12 o'clock to come talk to your ass for 10 minutes, it ain't happening. And they're like, well, was Andy Reid, you think that he's going to,
I got that
step down? And I said, I don't think so, but there is some merit in Andy becoming the CEO coach. Okay, you know what that means? Find yourself an offensive coordinator and let them run the offense. And now, if you think it's Nagy, I don't know if it is in my book, but then let him do it. If it's Cliff Kingsbury, bring him in.
Mike McDaniel gets fired in Miami.
Maybe him. Right. So maybe a little bit of change on the offensive staff. I thought the defense staff did a pretty decent job overall. Maybe the offensive staff, maybe the message is just getting lost a little bit. And it's a natural, and this is where I don't want people to freak out. It's a natural break point. Because I don't think Patrick Mahomes is going to come, and we disagree on this. I don't think you're going to see Patrick Mahomes in the first quarter of the season, even if he's close to 100% by the first game.
Well, let me be clear if you're not agreeing with me. My position is I have no idea.
Yeah.
I'm not his doctor, and we haven't heard what's wrong. I'm just telling you if these are the scenarios.
Right.
If it's just the ACL, I think he'll be there for week 1, but we don't know.
We don't know. I'm leaning towards, and once again, I've been around guys with the surgery, whether I was a coach and coaching high school kids, whether it's in college, guys coming off of college, or NFL, guys that I played with that came back. If you got a guy like Patrick Mahomes, I want him to be 100% and ready to roll when he goes out there. I'm not forcing him into any situation. And so if you miss the first 4 games, it's just kind of a natural reset. Bring in some different guys and bring in some different coaches. And not saying that you throw next year away, but you change up a little bit next year, and you see if you can kind of push that reset button and refresh a little bit, and see if you can get that juice back, because it looks like this team is spent.
It does, and it does need a reset. I think Andy Reid and the entire coaching staff and the front office can see it. Mm-hmm. And if there is a time to hand the baton, it is now.
Yep.
So I think Andy Reid will think about it, but I'm with you. I think in the end he's going to be back. Let's take a break. I want to come back and we'll talk a little bit more about the offense. We'll hear from Andy Reid, what he said today on the Zoom. That's coming up next here with Tim Grunhard, football insider, life coach, all-around swell guy. He's brought to you by our friends at the Plumbing Pro.
All right, first our Twin Peaks Into the Hour answer. One defense through 15 weeks has 0 interceptions on the season. Who is it?
God, that's not. All of a sudden, I'm trying to rack my brain. Have the Chiefs had an INT? They had to have had. They might have one somewhere. He said one defense.
I missed it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, thanks for paying attention.
Well, I didn't have my headphones on. I was waiting for Curtis to ask a question, but I'm sitting in his chair.
Yeah. I don't know if you know, Tim, but he's not here.
I know. That's maybe I need to go have another surgery.
Yeah.
Lobotomy.
He said only one defense has 0 INTs right now.
That would be the Jets.
Good job.
Yeah.
And you know what?
I watch all the Jets games, so I know.
You're a Jets historian.
I'm a closet Jet fan. That's why the Chiefs look so great to me all the time.
Well, they fired their defensive coordinator, who was Steve Wilkes, who Mizzou fans know, who also got fired at Arizona after doing a decent job as the interim head coach. Or no, they hired him as the head coach for 1 year and did a decent job. And they're like, no, you got to go. And that's when they went out and got Kingsbury, right? I think Wilkes was in front of Kingsbury. So, like, he seems to, like, do well and then immediately get fired. Now, he didn't do well with the Jets, but I don't know how much of that was him and how much of that was the Jets. But what are you firing him with 3 games to go?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of chintzy. I mean, listen, you're going to get any better.
We want to try out Chris Harris. And that's not the KU Chris Harris.
Boy, I'd be shocked if it was.
Because the KU Chris Harris is on a podcast on 810WHB.com on our Jayhawk Insider podcast, right? That Chris Harris is doing a podcast.
Yeah.
The one that used to be a corner for the Broncos. This has got to be a different Chris Harris. Or maybe I'm wrong.
I don't know.
It is a different Chris Harris.
Okay. So I wanted to make sure. I'm like,
If the Jets are hiring guys from 810WHB, they better be calling my ass.
The Jeff Saturday move.
New head coach for
the New York Jets,
yeah,
Tim Grunhard.
Tim Grunhard.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, thank you.
No. But why are you firing a coordinator with 3 games to go?
Yeah, I don't understand that.
Like,
what are you going to see?
If you're not the next guy fired, then the owner's an idiot, which we kind of can tell.
Yeah.
He clearly doesn't know how to build a football team. But
that's not the Hess family still, is it? Who owns the Jets?
Woody Johnson, right?
Who owns the Jets?
It is.
What was that? What movie?
Ambassador Woody Johnson.
Oh,
he's an ambassador to what? What is he ambassador to?
Sucking? I don't know.
The ambassador
of sucking.
There's the ambassador of Quan. Wasn't that what it was in
Star Trek?
No, in the Tom Cruise football agent movie. Jerry Maguire.
Yeah.
Cuba Gooding Jr. called him his ambassador of Quan. Woody Johnson, ambassador. It's like a little country.
Yeah, probably.
Oh, actually, England's coming up. That's a little more important than I thought.
England.
U.S. ambassador to the UK during the first Donald Trump administration.
Oh, is this from The Diplomat? You guys watch The Diplomat?
Is that good? I have not watched it.
It's very good.
I am
very, very good.
Okay, I'm gonna have to watch that. Frank said that too. I am currently barreling through season 3 at the behest of my friend Renee, of Mayor of Kingstown.
Yeah, another good one.
You watched that one?
I watched the first season, and then I started watching the second season, and
I think the second season's better than the first, and the third season's been really good. And then the fourth one's coming out week by week right now.
For some reason, I don't know, I forgot and didn't watch. I gotta get back on that one.
It was good.
I'll have plenty of time here. I'll be laid
prison
up for
life.
a while.
I'm hard like that.
Yeah.
So,
You could be the mayor of.
What are all the giggles over there?
You're the mayor of Leawood. Beautiful Leawood.
Should have seen the reaction.
I mean, you live on a lake.
I do not.
Yes, I
do not.
This guy right here, I tell you what. I remember back in the day.
Give me Tim's address, people.
I remember back in the day when you were, barely creeping by working for Don Fortune.
I never worked for Don Fortune, but whatever helps you.
Worked for Don Fortune, and you'd be sitting underneath the elevator at the Super Bowls.
Mm-hmm. That's a escalator.
Escalator.
The
elevator, escalator.
Yeah.
You know those things that go up.
Mm-hmm. I did not have as good a table as you and the 810 guys had. That's correct.
No. Now you have this big mansion.
And I didn't have 19 people and a party going on. like you guys had too. It was me covering the entire thing by myself. So,
well,
are you done with memory lane?
Bill Moss and I were that there wasn't a lot of work being done. That's for sure.
I know. I know, because the night
Back in the day.
The night was continuing when I would be leaving because I had things I had to do. So
the night would certainly be continuing probably when you started work.
You probably so.
At 6 a.m.
Probably so. What was it? Oh, I know. Number 6. You got me number 6? I want to play this one from Andy because I think this might be a little bit telling. This is what I was talking about, the offense never being in sync. I want to tell me what do you hear in this answer from Andy? I asked him, that they just never seem to be. I said Patrick Mahomes says, well, we need to take some shots. I got to give my guys a chance. Then you have a game where you take some shots, and he's like, I got to find the check down. You just never, to your point about rhythm,
right.
Like you never really got in sync, and it seems to have happened all season long.
Well, when you lose close games, you search for things, and so because you want to fix it, and sometimes it's a penalty here, sometimes it's a turnover here. So you have a variety of things. I mean, there's always one little thing that determines close games. Normally, one or two things, and we've had our share of those, and you can't have those. I mean, it's it could be the wrong play, called the wrong play at the wrong time. So we've all got a piece of this thing, and you got to keep striving to fix it, and then do what you have to do in the off season. But you finish these games here striving to do better and cleaning up some things. And I mentioned one of the positive things is you get to see a lot of young guys play out of it and see what they're all about.
All right. I'm really intrigued by the Open. When you lose a lot of close games, you're
searching.
You're searching.
Right.
You're trying to fix it.
Right.
That to me is like, okay, so that means
there's a lot of honesty in that answer.
There's a ton of honesty, and it's this is not normal. We are not normally in this situation. Right? So I think he's like, look, we lost the close game because we're not good enough. So we're like, normally it's like, no, we have the plan. Because I really think that if we could spend a year in every meeting Andy Reid's in, and you would come away, I get the gist from talking to people and whatnot, that maybe where Andy is better than any coach ever is from whenever the last game is played till whenever the first game is played. That time, his off season,
right.
I think he installs game plans, has figured out his opponents. They tweak along the way. But I get the vibe that, like, he has an offensive plan for the entire year, and he really doesn't have to waver for it. And this year the plan didn't work.
Right.
And so he was having to do things that he didn't have time to do because, like, the initial plan. Now, is that something that's happened one other time in his career, 5 other times? Is it something like, when you have a great offseason, boy, it all clicks all the way through, and so now you've got plenty of time to come up with when was the last time we saw a cute little play?
Yeah.
They don't have time for it because I think they're trying to figure out the main things.
Right, absolutely.
Right? We don't have time to make a souffle. We're trying to figure out how to cook the damn meat, right? Like we can't get that part ready. And when you see the Chargers defensive backs just flying to where the ball is going and blowing people up,
they were not fooled.
No, and
not
so why is that?
Well,
what happens when your offense is that known? Why would he be in that point? Because we're not used to seeing that.
Yeah, I think. Well, I don't think that there's a big threat, really, other than the quarterback right now. The running game is inexistent. It's just not. Let's just call it what it is. I don't know if it's the offensive line. I don't know if it's schemes. I don't know if it's the personnel. You guys all know that Jeremiah Love is a guy that I want the Kansas City Chiefs to go get because I think that he would be a difference maker. You got to find a playmaker at the running back position. Now, whether they go and move and get him or not, they probably won't. It's not their style, but it would put a big smile on my face. Because right now, if you're playing against the Kansas City Chiefs, are you really worried about the run game? Are you really worried about it? Is there anything?
No.
Is there anything?
And they're not either. They're putting no one in the box, and they still can't run.
So okay, now you take away half of your worry, right?
Yeah.
So your defensive coordinator, Like, don't worry about the run. I mean, Hunt's gonna maybe break one for 6 or 7 yards, but that's the extent of it. Pacheco's gonna run really hard for 4 or 5 yards and then run into a guy in the back of somebody and get a couple yards. And then, what was the tweet that you put out yesterday about the run game? Didn't they? They had. Yeah, I thought you put one out like they had 31 yards or something.
Yeah, I put out.
Yeah, what'd you put out?
Hang on, let me scroll back.
Because my tweet was.
I got to go back all my corrective podcast tweets because I screwed up the podcast today.
Every offensive. This is what I said yesterday in my tweet. Every offensive yard over the last 6 weeks looks like it takes maximum effort to get a yard.
There was,
and it fit in perfect with what you said.
Yeah, I remember where it was. They were like, 18 for
31
yards.
Right,
like the running backs.
Yeah.
I mean,
so if you're the offensive coordinator,
18 for 32, there it is. On the day that, and this was in the midst of the game.
Right.
I don't have that.
I don't think it got much better.
But they had 18 carries it was at 3:03, so it was late in the game.
Right.
On the day, the Chiefs running backs have 18 carries for 32 yards.
32 yards. 32 yards. So if you're a defensive coordinator, you're telling your defensive backs to go ahead. I mean, listen, you're basically game planning half as hard for half as many plays because you're not damn worried about the run game. Listen, you don't need to live in the world that I lived in the 1990s. By the way, I love it because some guy after I tweeted that said, every look like maximum effort to get a yard. He goes, feels like the 90s. And I put in there total points. The Chiefs scored 3,433 points between 1990 and 99, which ranked 10th in the NFL, averaging 21 points a game. I'd take that right now.
Yeah,
I would take that.
Yeah, there is.
Why are they flying around? Because there's no deception. They know exactly what's going to happen, when it's going to happen. It doesn't matter how smart Andy Reid is. It doesn't matter how great your coordinator is. If you take away half of your game plan, you got no chance.
Well, for 7 consecutive years, he's had at least 3 less weeks to prepare.
Right.
And for 5 of those 7, he's had 5 less weeks to prepare for the season because they've been playing games, doing game plans and playing games, and not getting on to looking to the future.
That fits into our push the reset button.
Yes,
because you're exactly right. I think Andy Reid. Listen, I believe in Andy Reid. I think he's still a great coach. I think that he is going to have a great offseason this year. Now, whether he has the players or whether he can execute that plan remains to be seen. But I do believe that you give him some weapons at the running back position. All right. It doesn't have to go back to the 90s, but you have to have the defense has to at least think about the run.
Yeah.
They don't think about it. They think about it. Kansas City Chiefs think about it. What have they shown in the run game in the last 2 years that scared the hell out of anybody?
Nothing.
Tim
Grunhardt's here. He's brought to you by our friends at the Plumbing Pro. Getting some life coaching here from Tim Grunhard during the break.
Well, there's one
Football
thing I
Insider,
know.
life coach.
One thing I know about is
life coaching.
dealing with kids. I'm an expert in that. I promise you that. I may not know anything, and you guys let me know all the time. I don't know crap about football. I suck on the radio, but I do know about dealing with kids. That's
okay.
for one sure.
There
for
it
sure.
is.
Whether it's my kids or high school kids.
Tune into Tim's new podcast.
Yeah.
Raising your kids.
Raising with a Z.
Yeah. Well,
raising kids.
Good to know. Good to know. All right, we're talking about the Kansas City Chiefs here and where they sit. So,
yeah.
First of all, do you think that they will reset the way we are?
I do.
Okay.
I really do. I think you're going to see some coaches changes. I think you're going to see some personnel changes. I think you're going to see some players that are let go if they can let them go. I think, to your point, I think there's going to be some action in the trade market where they can get some more draft picks. I think you're going to see this team get a lot younger this year. And that doesn't mean that it's going to be a bad year. In fact, it might even be more of an exciting year. I think we've kind of fallen into a rut here.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a great rut, but all good things have to end and change. Change is part of life, just like we were talking about with kids.
Well, when you're having success, what's the incentive to change?
Right.
Now they finally are not having success. There's a tremendous incentive to change, and I think they will.
And I think that this organization will look itself in the mirror and will see what they can do and what they can't do to become better and get to where they want to go again. And it won't take that long.
Tim, get through the surgery. Get the rehab going. We'll see you in a couple of weeks, buddy.
See you in a couple of weeks.
Tim, Football Insider, life coach, Chiefs Hall of Fame Center.
All right, this will be the first AFC title game without either Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes starting at quarterback since 2010. Who are the starting QBs of that game?
Second half of the program begins right now. We're going to get to the 2-minute drill. Still to come here on the program. Trent Green will be with us. Looking forward to the conversation with Trent, as Trent Green obviously has been through what Patrick Mahomes is going to go through. That's tearing your ACL. So we'll talk to Trent, get his thoughts on where the Chiefs are. Former Pro Bowl quarterback for the Chiefs joining us in the 5 o'clock hour. Former Pro Bowl center Tim Grunhard exiting stage left. So a lot of Chiefs talk here always on a Monday. Let's go around the country 2 minutes at a time, talking to the people covering the stories where they're happening. It's brought to you by our friends at Joslin's Jewelry. Our buddy Gary Joslin's got you covered here at the holidays. If you want to look like a hero, give the gift of jewelry, guys. You can never go wrong with a beautiful necklace. Maybe it's a tennis bracelet, pearls. How about a birthstone necklace or bracelet? Joslin's has hundreds, thousands, dare I say, of great gifts to for you to choose from at all different price points, plus the most expert staff, most knowledgeable staff you're going to find anywhere, plus you're treated like family the moment you walk in the door. Exquisite jewelry and exceptional service. That's what Joslin's prides themselves on. Find them online at joslinsjewelry.com. See them in person on the southeast corner of 95th and Antioch. It's Joslin's Jewelry, the gold standard in fine jewelry. Let's get things started in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. That's where Brian D., ESPN 94.5 WTMJ in Milwaukee. Brian, how are you, buddy?
Probably about as you guys are about as good as you guys are doing today, I would imagine, after the events of yesterday afternoon.
Yeah, the Packers still, though, very much in the hunt for the playoffs. Chiefs done, but losing Micah Parsons to a torn ACL. Where is the optimism on what the Packers can be now after the loss and losing Parsons?
Yeah, it does sort of feel like a day that is the death knell for the Packers season, and that may be dramatic, and I think we've been reflecting all day here in Milwaukee and across the state of Wisconsin as to why. Because, flipping the coin on you, Soren, if the Chiefs were in the Packers' position right now, which is still with a shot at the division, 9-4-1, going on the road this weekend to play a divisional foe with the division kind of on the line, and they lost, let's say, George Karlaftis or Chris Jones, I don't think the optimism toward the Super Bowl would be all lost, right? You would still say, we got 15, we got Patrick Mahomes, we still got a shot. And that optimism doesn't seem to exist in Green Bay and across the state. So it does sort of feel like a referendum on Jordan Love of, is this a guy that can put the team on his back and carry us not only to a division but to a Super Bowl? And the immediate reaction, maybe it's just, the devastation of losing Micah Parsons for the year, but I do think the pressure of the next 3 or 4 weeks and beyond falls on Jordan Love. And if the Packers can't get, that division championship away from the Chicago Bears, even missing Micah Parsons, maybe Jordan Love isn't the guy that we think he is.
That's interesting. What about David LaFleur? Where's the confidence in him?
So Matt LaFleur.
Or Matt LaFleur. I always do that. I always try to turn him into the old tight end from LSU that went to the Cowboys. Matt LaFleur. Where's the confidence in him?
Yeah, I think it's kind of the same thing. And, before the season, the Packers have everybody's an owner in Green Bay, right? The fans call themselves the owners, even though that's fake. But the Packers have a new president. Their current president is, a new guy. And Mark Murphy, their previous president, retired. So the new president, Ed Policy, wants to put his fingerprints on the organization and said before the season he is not going to have a lame duck head coach. Matt LaFleur is going into the last year of his contract next year. So I do think if the Packers find a way to not win the division here and then get bounced in the first round of the playoffs again, I don't think they'll fire Matt LaFleur, but Ed Policy's made it clear, their new president, we're not going to have a lame duck coach. So I think if the Packers fumble away this season, and Micah Parsons' injury is, a big part of all this, I could see a situation where they mutually part ways after the season and go into different directions. So this has all of a sudden become a huge 3.5 weeks for the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, that's interesting. Either that or they're already really close to getting an extension done, and so that's you can read it going the other direction on that. All right, let's talk about the deal the Brewers made. Angel Zerpa goes to the Brewers for outfielder Isaac Collins and reliever Nick Mears. We're pretty excited about this deal in Kansas City, or am I missing something on why we should not be excited?
No, I definitely think you should be. I think folks in Milwaukee were surprised to see those two names go out the door because, halfway through the season, Isaac Collins was in the, NL Rookie of the Year picture. He hit over 260, he hit some big home runs. He had a walk-off late this fall during the Brewers' 14-game winning streak against the New York Mets. I mean, that guy was a stud and made some big-time hits for the Brewers down the stretch. And then Nick Mears was, a middle reliever that the Brewers were going to in some high-leverage situations in the postseason. So I would be really excited if I was a Royals fan that you're getting two young guys that have some good playoff experience, even at young junctures of their career. Collins, I could see being a star. He was amazing, and I think the Brewers just ran into a situation where it's a good situation to be in for them. They have a lot of good outfield depth, and this was a guy that they found to be disposable.
Yeah, I do. Zerpa brings it at 97, 98, up to that. I think his fastball average just under 97 this year from the left-hand side. Not much against right-handers. My assumption is they looked at him and went, "We'll have this pitch. He'll be nails," and they just had depth, and so that does speak a little bit to it. But and Connor Dawson is now here in Kansas City, who worked with him in Milwaukee. So we assume there's inside information when you've added him to your hitting coaching staff. So we feel like, you probably can't screw this one up, but, we'll see.
Yeah, it does sort of feel like the rare win-win trade for both organizations, right? Because the Brewers and the Royals I view as very similar, although they're in different leagues, right, where they're not going to have the most gigantic payroll in the world. They have to compete smart. They have to maybe part ways with guys earlier than you would like to stay sustainable and competitive. And this feels like one of those moves where both sides were looking for something very specific, and we're able to accommodate that need, and hopefully it works out for both organizations.
Yeah, do they do anything else in Milwaukee?
I don't know that they will. I think the way the Brewers sort of view it at this point is we made it to the National League Championship Series. We were the best regular season team in baseball. We're not really losing anything. They don't have a situation like they have in the past quite yet with starting pitching where they need to part ways with somebody. The last couple of years they lost, NL Cy Young Award winner Corbin Burns. He signed a $200 million deal with the Orioles. They parted ways with Devin Williams, sent him to the Yankees because they knew he was going to get paid. I think that might happen with Freddie Peralta, who is their ace at this point, but I think we're a year premature on that. So, from a Brewers, perspective, I do think they're going to try and run it back, for lack of a better way of phrasing it, and say, okay, we won 98 games and got the 1 seed in the National League last year. Let's try and do it again.
All right, finally, Giannis and the Bucks. They're going to have another talk. Like, how many times are you going to, keep chatting about it? Either crap or get off the pot. Either we're married and we're going to work through this, and we're going to make it work, or let's go, let's make it official, and let's start fielding offers. Like, how long can we keep going with this touch-and-go Giannis and the Bucks?
Yeah, so I think, the Bucks need to send Micah Parsons a fruit basket and a get-well card, because Micah's injury covered up the fact that the Bucks lost by 45 points to the 6-win Brooklyn Nets last night. Giannis is hurt. Giannis is probably going to be out until after the Christmas holiday. And then at that point, we'll be 3.5, 4 weeks away from the trade deadline. I think if the Bucks don't either make a big move, and there's rumors of Zach LaVine, which I don't know that moves the needle too terribly much for the Bucks. More than anything, Giannis values loyalty. He values his family. He loves the Bucks organization. He loves Milwaukee as a place that gave him his first chance in the NBA. But above all else, Giannis loves winning. And if he doesn't think he can win a championship this year with the Bucks, which is looking further and further from a realistic possibility, I think the trade deadline might be the time where he walks into the front office and goes, trade me. I need to get out of here. I need to compete for a championship. So to answer your question, the crap or get off the pot thing, I think the pot probably comes into play around the NBA trade deadline this year, and that's where things start to get serious.
I like it when you can take that analogy and go even further. Brian D. in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Great stuff as always, buddy. Have a great week, my friend.
You do the same. Thank you.
As we say, because of one man and one man only, Munch Bishop, NEO Sports Insiders in Cleveland, Ohio. Munch, how are you, buddy?
Brother, I am superb. Such a treat to hear your voice.
Yeah, it's always great to talk to you. Myles Garrett, the only reason to watch Cleveland Browns football. Is that correct?
Brother, you know what? You could say that. Here's what puzzles me, okay? The Browns were embarrassed yesterday. I don't know if you saw any of it or read about it. I mean the vaunt, and I got to ask you this, and I always call them, this is me, not you talking, the former worldwide leader, okay, was telling how this was a trap game, that the Browns were going to win 10-6 because the Bears couldn't run on them, no one could run on them. Did you see a week ago that Tony Pollard, not Derrick Henry, not one of the premier running backs in the NFL, Tony Pollard gassed them, destroyed them. You know, one of the reasons, too, is that as they're running off the left side, Miles doesn't care about the run. He's going to sack the quarterback. And if they hand off, he just lets the guy go by him. No, you know what? Is he a good athlete? Yeah, he's a very good athlete. But he came out yesterday and even said, you know what? Because of the money he made, he's got a little bit more in the tank. Should that really make a difference? And you know what? When people are just, oh, yeah, Miles wanted to have sacks to go to that, you just got embarrassed as a team, and that's what they're talking about? It blows my mind, bro.
It is the only thing, though, that the team can kind of accomplish this year, right? Is him setting a sack record?
As the team accomplishes it, as he accomplishes it, he's always been for individual records. So he talks about he would rather win. Well, then, you know, stop the run a little bit better when they're coming off your side. I see what you're saying. As a fan, is it special? Yeah. I still like I'd say 7-8 of those sacks are, I always point out there, Juan Encarnacion home runs. The team is down 8-0 in baseball, and he hits a solo shot in the bottom of the ninth and runs around the bases with the parrot on his arm. So that happens, too. Is he a decent guy? He certainly is. But you know what? He's doing it for the money and for the money only. Yeah, and he wants the accolades also.
Okay. All right. Where are they at on the quarterback? Are they liking what they see from Shedeur Sanders?
Well, brother, if you watched yesterday, how could you like what you saw? I like the analogy for our guy in Milwaukee. I've got one for you, okay? So a week ago, against the Tennessee Titans, a bad football team, who, by the way, beat the Browns. Jets are a bad football team. They beat the Browns. Well, last week against the Titans, here you have the 29th rated pass defense in the league. Shedeur had a pretty good game. You know what, though? That was like the king and his army putting down the peasants' revolt. The peasants have rakes, and they've got pitchforks and stuff like that, and the army has guns. However, the peasants ended up winning, so what can you say? Shedeur was as bad as possibly I have seen a quarterback. And I like the kid, but just watching it objectively yesterday, he was horrible. His receivers were horrible. They were dropping passes, and by the way, I did have 2.5 over on the picks yesterday, so I'm going to have some extra gifts here at Christmas.
Yeah, yeah.
The bottom line, you know, can he play against good? He played not even like a fifth-rounder yesterday. He played like an undrafted free agent.
How about the Buckeyes? They lose a tight, tough game to the Indiana Hoosiers in the Big Ten championship game, and they hold on to the number 2 spot. What do you think of the draw? They're going to play the winner of A&M and Miami. How confident are you that they'll win this tournament?
I'm very, very confident. And let me tell you this. I know it's going to sound weird because, you know, I'm a Buckeye Homer, Hawkins show. But what a great football game it is. You know what it was, Soren? It was Ohio State playing Ohio State. That's how both teams are built. Great lines, offense and defense, pretty dang good DBs, some good linebacker play, great quarterback play, good wide receivers. That was two teams going at it. You know, I spoke to Josh Jackson, who kicked for the Buckeyes in the mid-'90s, about the fielding and that miss. And you're saying, well, you know what? You get down there, you got to score stuff, and I thought they were going to. But you know what? Bluntly, the kid choked. And you know what? If you come to kick at Ohio State, you should not choke. That really was a chip shot.
What do the Royals get in signing Lane Thomas? He spent the last couple of years with the Guardians. What do they have in Lane?
Number one, I had him penciled in as a starting center fielder this year. Number two, he has to stay healthy. He's going to start real. If he starts faster than you, then you know what? I got to come out and get you some barbecue in KC. He's going to start slow, but as the season goes on, he's going to play better and better and better and better. You just got to remember, that was 2 seasons ago. We had a great postseason, and he started building up to it in a big, big way. I like him a lot. We'll see. Health is the main issue.
All right, we'll see if he can stay healthy. And what's wrong with the Cavaliers? I mean, they're supposed to be the class of the East. They're the 8 seed right now.
Wasn't it 2-3 weeks ago where I told you that this team is just special? This team, you know how the kids today say, dude, you're sick, and that's a good thing? No, this team is sick, and it's a bad thing. Can't figure it out. Brother, Friday night, they had to dig deep. Out of a hole to beat Washington. And Washington was listing their top 4 leading scorers. That's an oxymoron, huh? Top 4 leading scorers for Washington. But they had it. And then yesterday, they get beat by the Charlotte Hornets. They don't score a point in overtime. There's something seriously wrong with this basketball team. Kenny Atkinson got to figure it out. I mean, Spida Mitchell cannot do it alone every night. And most of the wins lately, it's Spida and nobody else.
Yeah, with the Celtics injuries, the Pacer injuries, like this is it. This is the time to go get it done, and they're not getting it done right now.
My friend.
Yeah. Munch Bishop, you're the man. We appreciate it. Have yourself a great week. Happy holidays.
Same to you. Merry Christmas to all my good people in KC.
Mark Rogers, WWLS, the sports animal in Oklahoma City, is next. Mark, how are you, buddy?
That's a tough act to follow. I better step up my game today.
Yeah, you got to bring it after lunch. There's no doubt about it. What do we think? Oklahoma and Alabama. Do we like the draw for the Sooners? Did they get ranked appropriately?
I like the draw for OU. It was a weird game at Alabama. Oklahoma won it with 211 yards of total offense. So I would think they have to be better than that. But it does seem like Alabama started to trend down. Ty Simpson wasn't near as good as he was after the Oklahoma game as he was before. And I just, hey, maybe Georgia's gotten better and better over the course of the season, and they might be the team to beat. But they just handled Alabama in that game for the SEC championship game. So I do like Oklahoma's matchup. I think it's a better one than they could get unless they were playing the two group of 5 teams.
Yeah, I think it is tough being asked to beat a team a second time, right? Like, I mean, that's not part of the equation for figuring out what the bracket is going to be. But I would be a little disappointed if I were an OU fan that we're going to be told, okay, go beat Bama again.
Well, I think that they're more fortunate than, say, if we would have had to play Notre Dame. I mean, all the odds makers love Notre Dame. They have them power rated as like the second or third team in the country. And I do think that it's tough to beat a team twice. But if you look at the recipe that Oklahoma's defense uses, like Alabama can't run the ball. I mean, this isn't a Nick Saban Alabama team. And so if Brent Venables has to, if he can basically say, okay, well, we're comfortable with stopping the run, we could do some different things to blitz and feel like maybe we can force some pressure on the quarterback. So from that perspective, I feel really good about OU. Now, offense against Alabama's defense, I'm not sure. So didn't get any clue today in his press conference about availability of players. R. Mason Thomas, he said, will practice this week, so would expect him to play. And, Alabama had 3 or 4 key players that didn't play in the SEC championship game, especially the tight end, which would be a big deal because Oklahoma's defense sometimes is very vulnerable against the tight end.
Does getting into the playoffs have Brent Venables playing with house money, or is there expectation that he will advance?
Yeah, he's playing with house money. I think that, like you said, the fans are a little bit nervous of having to try to beat Alabama twice, and it would be 3 in a row. Brent's defense really handled him last year here. It was a different quarterback, but I think that everybody's pretty happy. The fans will be upset if they lose a game, especially depending on how it happens. But I think that making the playoffs at 10-2 this year, I'd have never told you that. Like when we were hanging out this summer talking about OU football, I would have thought 8-4 was a great season. So to get to 10-2 was really good.
Yeah, that makes sense. Tell me, we just saw Oklahoma beat Oklahoma State. That's the first loss for Oklahoma State. Schedule not much when it comes to, unless I'm missing the strength of a school. It's got some great Ken Palm that I'm looking at the schedule here. But how good is Oklahoma State? I mean, the record looks good. Are they actually good or no?
No, they haven't played a true road game. So I think that matters some. Paris Fala, their big man that transferred from Oregon State, only played 10 minutes against OU. But I was really surprised by that result. OU's been hit and miss, making 3-point shots. But Nigel Pack is playing well right now, and he had a good game. So I thought that Oklahoma State might win that game, but they had a bad shooting performance that day. And how athletic their big men are, I think, will tell the tale of how far they go in the Big 12 because they're going to be outmanned in the paint a little bit. So we'll see if Coach Lutz can get them in up-tempo games, which is incredibly difficult in that league. I thought they were a tournament team, but that kind of leaves my confidence a little shaken of what happened on Saturday.
Yeah, do you believe in the Sooners? I mean, they're kind of the opposite. They've got 3 losses, but they're all the good teams. What do you think of the Sooners?
I mean, the SEC is not what it was last year. I mean, so they open up against Mississippi and Mississippi State. I think Porter Moser has to put the team together. They're not consistent. I mean, they've missed shots at times. They've played terrible defense, giving up a ton of paint points. I think the tale is yet to be written on OU. I mean, if they improve, then I'd say yes, they can get to 500 in the SEC. But if it's still just kind of disjointed on offense and it's a make or miss deal where every night, like, you got to depend on whether or not they make 40% of threes or not, then I don't know. So I hate to give you kind of a wishy-washy answer there, but I've got to see more from OU to tell you how good I think they can be.
And meanwhile, are we, are we distraught after the Thunder lost their second game? 24-2, for God's sake, this team is right now. I know that they were the favorite to win, the NBA championship coming in, but it's time to start talking about having the best record in the history of the NBA, isn't it?
Well, no, hey, it went from, I mean, we could never lose, people talking about 80 wins, 74 wins, and then Victor Wembanyama checked into the game, and now it's like, oh, crap. I mean, what's going to happen from here on out? The Thunder get to play the Spurs 3 times here in pretty rapid succession, the 23rd, the 25th, and then January 13th. Those games are going to be really interesting. But Oklahoma City's very good. Their depth allows them to have advantages over other NBA teams. You just run out guys that are very good and work well in this system. But Oklahoma City has only played 1 game against Denver, Houston, and I guess now San Antonio. You can add 2 there. And they struggled against Houston early on. So when they face some of these tougher teams, I think you'll get a better idea of, what they can do in the playoffs. So I think there's going to be some challenges out there for them in the postseason. But, man, they're really good, and they will beat you into oblivion if you're just an average NBA team going through the motions.
Mark Rogers and OKC, great stuff as always, buddy. We appreciate it. Have yourself some fantastic holidays.
All right, you too. Thanks, Ren.
Alex Barth, 98.5, the Sports Hub in Boston, Massachusetts is next. Alex, how are you?
Good. How are we doing?
Doing well. We're already sick of the Patriots. I mean, you get a 20-year run, and now you're back. I don't know how you did it, but you managed to have people in Kansas City rooting for the Buffalo Bills. Does it feel good to be back being the villain?
It does. I mean, yesterday was a little bit of a reset, a little bit of a reminder that they're not maybe all the way back, but overall it's been a very fun season.
Yeah, they don't win the division title yet, but it looks like it's inevitable. With the way they played, I get it. You don't like blowing a 21-point lead, but they still went toe-to-toe with the Bills, going up and down the field. I mean, that makes you feel pretty good. It certainly validated their upset win of the Bills early in the year. You still think this is arguably the strongest team in the AFC?
It's them or the Broncos. Look, I think they are a better team than the Bills, but it was kind of a reminder that, hey, this is still a young team that needs to learn and needs how to learn to win close games, win late. They sneaky have not been good in the fourth quarter for a few weeks. It hadn't mattered because they've gotten out to these big leads, but against Buffalo, who can score quickly, it wasn't enough. So it's both encouraging and maybe a reminder of, this has all happened so quickly that there's just some things that they're going to need to go through, some growing pains that they haven't hit yet.
Got a lot of excitement with the Red Sox. Maybe, talking about here on our end, Chris Bubich. There on Boston's end, it was Cole Reagans. Is there still any talk that, maybe something could come together with the Red Sox and Royals, or the Royals getting an outfielder out of the Brewers seemingly end their pursuit of, any of the Red Sox outfielders?
Yeah, Jarren Duran, it seemed like a fit, and then, like you said, the Orioles making other deals. Nobody's really sure where to be at with the Red Sox at this point, because the Red Sox have had this habit of they have one big off season, and then they kind of go quiet for a couple years, and they'll throw out excuses about spending and things like that. And they had a big off season last year, and credit to them, they had a very good off season last year. They haven't had back-to-back off seasons like that in a long time, so. They're saying they're not done, but in the past they've said, hey, we're going to make moves, we're going to make big moves, and this offseason is going to be this and that. And then we get to spring training, and they really haven't done anything.
Pete Alonso, did they blow it by not getting that deal done? They were supposedly interested in him.
I think so. He checks every box they needed: power bat, right-handed bat, first baseman, durable, plays every day, veteran leader. That was the guy that kind of would have tied this lineup together, and to get outspent by the Baltimore Orioles, by a division opponent, was frustrating in a deal that really wasn't that big, breaking the bank, and the reporting that the Red Sox came in well below it. It's frustrating because they should have that kind of spending power and that kind of negotiating power to get that deal done. And look, credits to the Orioles. No deferred money, no opt-outs. That was a real 5-year, $155 million contract in an era where everything is done in the fine print. But the Boston Red Sox, Fenway Sports Group's the kind of organization that should be able to match that.
So is now getting Alex Bregman back become the focus?
It does, and they do need to get him back. It's just, okay, well, that's not really an addition. They already had Bregman, and there's been all this talk, and after they traded Rafael Devers, there was the talk of, well, we saved all this money, and, it's going to look better going down the road, and this and that, and well, if they just use that money to bring back Bregman and say that was the big addition, well, no, you already had him. You had both. So they do need him back, but it does also feel like they came up a little short if that's their move.
Jason Tatum, I recently acquired for just $1 or $2 in my fantasy NBA because when I got offered the deal, my team's decimated by injuries and sucks. So I was playing for the future. It's a keeper league. And I was stunned to read that Jason Tatum, like I got offered this. I'm like, well, it's like, oh no, he's already playing, pickup ball and doing this. It's like, well, good God, I couldn't hit accept fast enough when I heard that he was already, doing that kind of thing. Then I was paranoid. Like, wait a minute, is he gonna ruin it? Is he gonna blow it out too soon? Where does he sit in the rehab? And is everybody cool with him already playing like one-on-one basketball?
It seems like he's making great progress, and a lot was made at the time of the injury. He got the quicker surgery. He got this new kind of surgery that's supposed to help you come back quicker and things like that. And I think when the injury first happened, and then the Celtics kind of reset their roster in the offseason, there was this view of, okay, well, it's a bridge year, it's a rebuilding year, don't rush him back for a down team and let him fully heal, and they just won a title so you can be patient. Well, now they're the third seed in the East. They're playing some of the best basketball of anybody in the East. They've got the Pistons tonight. That's a big game, but he's not just coming back to a middling team. This feels like a team that could win the East and go back to the finals, especially if he's back. So the entire landscape has kind of changed in the last month. Obviously, he has to be healthy, and the team has said they won't play him until he's 100% fully clear. They won't bring him back at 90%. But the fact he's making such quick progress compared to expectations, and the fact that the Celtics are winning, it feels like it could be, sooner rather than later. I think the initial expectation was around the All-Star break, right, somewhere in February. Does that turn into January? And it all has to line up, but there is now incentive to get him back as soon as they can get him back, where maybe that incentive, going into the year, it didn't seem like it was going to be as incentivized to do that.
Yeah, we'll see. Man, if he comes back, especially with Cleveland fumbling all over themselves, like the East is actually wide open. It'd be amazing if he would come back, and then here are the Celtics already back in the finals. We'll see. Alex Barth in Boston, Massachusetts. Great stuff. Happy holidays to you. Have a great week.
Happy holidays.
All right, our Nick and Jake's Into the Hour answer. This will be the first AFC title game without either Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes starting at QB since the 2010 season. Who were the starting quarterbacks of that game?
Give it to me one more time.
So this is going to be the first AFC title game without Brady, without Mahomes starting at quarterback since 2010. Who started in that game?
2010. God, Curtis has like the encyclopedia of every. Ben Roethlisberger.
There's one.
Against, because the Steelers won, right? Ben Roethlisberger over. God, would have been Joe Flacco? Did the
he was a New York Jet.
Chad Pennington?
Nope.
The Jets were in the Vinny Testaverde?
No. He ran into his own player's ass.
Mark Sanchez.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh man. Yeah. Wow. Rex Ryan is the head coach. Oh my God, Mark Sanchez against Ben Roethlisberger. Wow. Yeah, that'll set you back. Nick and Jake's just gave it away. 3 great locations. Enjoy great food on either side of the state line. We were just over there last week. Dine in, carry out, delivery. Nick and Jake's, KC's home for great food and sports. Find them online at nickandjakes.com. And the chocolate cheesecake to die for. Okay, their desserts are out of this world. All of them made from scratch. They are great. Go see them at Nick and Jake's. Good people. Great KC company. 3 locations around the metro. What do we think? You know, by the way, we'll open up the phone lines real quick. We can take a couple of calls here. Got a little bit behind with the drill. We're going to talk to Trent Green coming up next hour, but I know we left a number of people hanging. Give me a call at 913-381-810 if you want in. 913-381-810. We hear that the Packers are about ready, like, if they don't win the division, Matt LaFleur's out. Munch tells us, yeah, Myles Garrett's going to win the sack record, but that's all he cares about. So they're not happy in Cleveland. Oklahoma City, that's the one place where they do seem to be satisfied. Brent Venables, house money.
Right.
It's the only place there. Because in Boston, the Pats, Red Sox not spending any money. There are not happy fan bases really anywhere.
No.
Man.
And I can read you the text that Munch Bishop sent me when I booked him.
What did he say?
Well, pretty much everything that he said with you, but he went, he said, cool, I'm in. I said, glad to hear it, Munch. We'll talk to you tomorrow. He goes, me too. Cavs are ill, and I'm talking sick, not in a good way. The Browns are an embarrassment with fans making any excuse in the book.
I get it if you're a Browns fan. Right, I do. I totally get it. I mean, they've not been any good since they come back.
Oh, yeah.
What do they got? Like a couple of playoff appearances here or there, but I don't even know if they got a playoff win. Did Kelly Holcomb actually did he win one for Bill Belichick? Did they steal a win? Or, God, that was even Butch Davis. I think they might have won a playoff game in this incarnation since they've been back. But
I want to say Baker. Did Baker win one?
Yeah, he beat Pittsburgh to then come here.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, Baker got. But, man, think about those decisions. Walk on Baker Mayfield to watch him go throw 40 touchdowns down in Tampa. And now you've got the quarterback, the hot mess that is the quarterback stew that's going on there in Cleveland right now. I mean, that is pain and anguish. I mean, I do feel for the Packers. I think they probably felt like, hey, we've got the mix with Micah Parsons. We're ready to go. But, man, Cleveland, that's football hell. 913-381-810. Let's talk to Jerry. You're on the program, Jerry. What's going on, buddy?
Oh, not much. I'm trying to get over the shock of the Chiefs losing, but, you know,
losing the just this Charger game or the way the whole season's gone?
Kind of the season, the Charger game, rooting for them all year long, holding out hope and all that stuff. And I'm not that shattered because I do listen to you guys and I listen to other people, but I can't take the national media, the criticism from you guys for certain things, which, you know, that's fine. I can handle that. the thing I wanted to talk about is, would you fault me for wanting to root for Phillip Rivers? Old man Rivers he did throw for a touchdown. I think that's awesome, but I kind of, for the first time in my life, I get the chance to root for Phillip Rivers without it affecting the Chiefs one way or the other. And when he gets done horsing around, pun intended, with Indianapolis, how good of a chance do you think Phillip Rivers would be welcomed into Kansas City to start the first 3 or 4 games if needed next year? And that might be stupid, but I'll go ahead and listen off.
All right, Jay. I don't think it's not stupid. I mean, it's unlikely, but the man is playing football again now. Somebody told me that you get 5 years of health insurance. Did I hear Jason Anderson say this? You get 5 years of NFL health insurance after you're done playing. And, like, this was the end of his 5th year, so now he restarts that clock, and he's going to get 5 more years of health insurance. And somebody goes, he does have, like, I don't know, 6, how many kids he got, 10, 12?
I think he's in the double digits.
Double digits? I mean, that's a check, man. Actually, no, once you get to 3 or 4, then I think it's the same. I don't know how that works, but it's just like they know, like, man.
10 total.
10 total? 10 kids? So 12 in the family? Like, I love the Phillip Rivers story. First of all, Curtis and I are both big fans of Phillip Rivers, the guy, because he gives thoughtful answers at the podium. I love his competitive nature. Hate it when he's beating my team, right? But what a competitive guy, and love the sidearm slinging it style that he throws with. So yeah, I love it. I love that he's out there doing it. Plus, if you're an old fart, you love anybody like going out there like, oh. And if you're smart, you're like me, like, that ain't me. But usually most old guys like, you know what? Phillip Rivers going to go out there, 45 years old. I'm going out. We're going to play some ball. And I guarantee you orthopedists are fielding calls everywhere today. I'm going to get back in the game. Phillip Rivers can do it. I can do it. No, you can't. You can't. 913-810-810. Brian, you're in the program. What's going on, Brian?
Hey, Curtis. Hey, Soren. Point of view from Chicago. Just wanted to talk with you briefly about Matt Nagy.
Yeah.
I grew up in KC, went to all the great playoff losses at Arrowhead, and have followed the team religiously the last 20 years. And I guess my thing on Nagy is, to me, I understand that Andy's very loyal and may not make a change, but I guess I just wondered, don't we think a change should happen? And the reason I would say that is, up here in Chicago, Matt's offense looked almost identical to what we've seen the last 3 years, and he got to the playoffs 2 out of the last 3, 2 of his 3 years, on a really good defense. But it was pre-snap penalties, no coherency in the offense, no rhythm, kind of mindless play calls in obvious situations. And I guess I would just add that, he may not be the biggest problem the Chiefs have, but to me, the question should be, is he providing any solutions? And for what we see week after week after week, the answer is no. So I was surprised when I heard you say earlier that you thought he might end up being the Tennessee head coach after this season. I just see a constant regression, and the common denominator these last 3 years after Bieniemy left is him. And so, again, it's not to say that
well,
he's the worst guy ever, but
hold on. The common denominator after Bieniemy left is Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, Matt Nagy, the entire offensive coaching staff. We formulate a narrative, and then we work backwards and try to figure out where it is. I am not here to tell you that Matt Nagy isn't the problem. I don't know. He may be it. It may be that he's the one guy that's fired and everybody stays, and they go, yeah, like he's not getting it done. I don't know. And to your point, because I looked it up while you were talking, Matt Nagy's years with the Bears, offensively in points, they ranked 9th, 29th, 22nd, 27th, and 20. That's the 4 years. Defensively in points, they ranked 1st, 4th, 14th, and 22nd. So the defense eroded, the offense eroded a little bit and stayed bad, right? But he was 9th in points his first year there with Mitchell Trubisky. And I do think that the Chiefs' defense looks better when the Chiefs' offense is playing from in front, right? So I think there was an element of, I'm sure that defense got worn down when the offense wasn't playing well. I won't trumpet you on the fact that Matt Nagy's resume says that he should be number one with a bullet anywhere, but I will tell you that Mitchell Trubisky sucks. Okay, and trying to win with Mitchell Trubisky is a fool's errand. And so I will stand by what I stated, which was not that Matt Nagy was brilliant with Chicago. It's that his tenure with the Bears has aged well.
Yeah,
Mitchell,
I guess Soren, my only point on that is I 100% agree with you with Trubisky, and that's inarguable. My only point was that up here, what we observed was more of the lack of coherency, pre-snap penalties, bizarre play calling, and at times what felt like a little bit of a lack of leadership or maybe just a lack of accountability. So those are the points.
I'm with you. Like I can't speak to the leadership and accountability. I'm going to let you go because I need to take a quick break here, Brian. But I will say this: like bizarre play calling comes when you have a quarterback that can't do half of what you want to do, right? Like I think more damn if he is the guy that's running the whole offense this year, then he is the problem. I will agree with you because the offense has problems this year. All right, wrapping up this hour here on the program. Coming up next hour, we'll talk to Trent Green. Really looking forward to talking to Trent. Always enjoy our conversation with Trent, but man, talk about a guy who's had the knee injury, had to rehab it, everything to go through it. Can't think of anybody better to talk to here in the 5 o'clock hour than to Trent Green about the Patrick Mahomes situation. So we will do that. After we get to the things you need to know, we'll hear some of Andy Reid's comments, what he had to say about Patrick Mahomes, kind of the rundown, and then what to expect moving forward. So, yeah, tough day. Tough day. But the drill made me feel a little better. Ain't nobody happy anywhere.
Right.
So, at least we're polishing, 3 championship trophies here. Take that over the last run. That's the good news. That's the good news. Need to know, Trent Green, coming up next. You're in the program.
All right, new Royal Isaac Collins was one of how many switch hitters in 2025 with at least 30 extra base hits and 15 stolen bases? Brought to you by Nick and Jake's.
Fourth quarter of the program begins right now as we finish strong here on a Monday. Beautiful Monday. Got a beautiful week of weather. Enjoy it, Kansas City. We're down one. The big guy off on vacation. Curtis will be back with us next week. Trent Green will be with us next segment. And we hear from Andy Reid right now. Let's start with Reid's update. Here's everything on the medicals when it comes to Patrick Mahomes.
For information, Patrick is going to go to Dallas for a second opinion with Dr. Cooper, and we'll just see. We'll give you updates as we go from there.
Wonder, first of all, you mentioned that Patrick is getting a second opinion. Is that because you guys are still analyzing whether there's damage beyond the ACL?
No, but these guys normally do that. So on that, Sam, most guys get a second opinion. Probably put it up as much as probably over 90% of the guys do this, and that's just part of it. And that's what he's doing.
You guys put out the tweet that he had an ACL. Did the initial diagnosis mention anything about a meniscus or anything, or did it just look like an ACL?
Yeah, it's just what they put out there. We try not to hide too much from you, right? That's not our game. I try to keep it right up front with you. So that's the information that they had, and they put it out for you.
I love the chuckle as he says that. Remember when Rick Burkhalter literally ran out of the room after giving him a medical update? I think this one is pretty cut and dried. ACL, we'll hear more whenever they get around to doing the surgery, whether or not there was extra cleanup that they had to do. We'll talk about it with Trent Green coming up in our next segment. Andy Reid, talking to Patrick Mahomes, was asked if he's been able to talk to Pat since the diagnosis.
Yeah, I've had a good visit with him a couple different times. So he's in a good place. He always feels like he let people down, but then he comes back and he's ready for the challenge ahead, which is what's real right now. He's just got to get through surgery wherever it might be, and then move on from there.
Okay. How about the last three games? Pete Sweeney from the Kansas City Star, you hear him each and every Wednesday here in the program. He asked Andy Reid how they'd approach the final three games.
Yeah, listen, every game you go into, it can be Yahtzee and you want to win. We're in America here. That's kind of what we do. So you want to go in to play your best. And, if the guys are available, they're going to play. And they know that, and they want to do that. So, you find out.
What was the Yahtzee part? Was that like even if you're playing Yahtzee, you want to win? Because that's what Americans do. Is that, I think, the gist of that part?
I guess so.
Okay. Andy talked a little bit more about the emotions everyone was going through after the tough game on Sunday.
Yeah, I know the process of rehabbing for sure. He'll get in there, and I know he'll come out on the strong end of this thing. And then as we go here, we're finding a lot out about our team. Some of the young guys are having opportunities to play. We're going to finish this season strong and with effort, and then then you get into the off season. But there's I'm always optimistic about going forward, and Brett Veach does a heck of a job with bringing players in, as you can see now by the guys that are in there playing. So, and then it's our responsibility to clean things up on the coaching side of it, and the players to take responsibility on their end and finish these three games, and then whoever's still here after to retool it.
Kind of looking ahead to the future there. You kind of mentioned the veterans. If you're good, you'll go, and then the young players getting a chance to play. It seemed like there was kind of maybe, where you're at. I asked him, okay, so what would be the reason to not, since you're out this year, not go ahead and play the young players?
Well, Soren, most of them are already playing. So that's the main thing. It's I've got to see what the injuries are here and from this game, and then go from there. But most of the young guys are having an opportunities in one phase or another. You only have so many numbers in this thing that you can play with. So in the NFL, it's not quite like college where you have 90 guys that you can just pick and choose from.
I think it is a valid point, but like Jaden Hicks, how about play all the snaps, right? Jeffrey Bossa, especially if you're at a point. I mean, I think everybody is a fan of Leo Chenal and how he plays, but if Leo Chenal's not going to be back, he's on the end of his contract, then how about Jeffrey Bossa gets out there? He plays special teams, but he doesn't really play on the defense. So he makes a good point, but Ashton Gelati should be playing the maximum amount of snaps on the edge. Jaden Hicks, Noel Williams, all those guys. I mean, that's what we're getting at. Not just getting 15 snaps or 10 snaps, or if the package is right, if this player's in, well, they didn't play the way we... No, play those guys.
Yeah. And Jalen Royals is a guy who we have not seen.
Yes, at all. So, if you want to find out about these guys, and I don't know why you wouldn't, because to me, I do get wanting to win, and I understand. I think there is value if they win all three. The worst outcome for this team is 8-9. If you go 9-8, I'll be like, okay, you kept your string of winning seasons alive. But if you go 8-9, that sucks, because I'd rather have gone 6-11. Right. Get the better draft pick. All right, Andy was asked how he's dealing emotionally with being eliminated so early.
Yeah, Todd. I mean, obviously, I'm not happy about it. Neither is anybody here. I mean, that's we strive for excellence. We try to do that every year. Things happen though in this league. I mean, it's there's a ton of parity, and sometimes you end up on the short end of it, and you've got to go back and look at things, and that can be healthy. And we've got good people to do that with, and we've got a good nucleus of players. So we've got to go back and look at all of that.
Well, I think that's what this offseason will be. Going back, taking a look. Where'd you make a mistake? Is it scheme? Is it roster? It's all a little bit. He said early in one of those cuts, we've all got a piece of this thing. Like when I asked him about the offense, personnel-wise, like, Jalen Royals. We just mentioned Jalen Royals didn't help this team this year. Was that a mistaken pick? Maybe he'll be a star in the future, but he didn't help this year. Is there schematically something? Well, the receivers are about to get their heads taken off. The Chargers clearly schematically knew where their receivers are going, so there's a little scheme. It's a little bit of everything. I agree. They're going to get some extra time to try to figure it out. Trent Green's next.